Um, I would like to call and present each and every one of them as they have a very, very interesting bios, and I'm sure that you will be thrilled to meet them after this panel. So the first one I would like to call to Amit Boyansky, who is the founder and CEO of ZoomD. Amit is an Israeli startup entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and an angel investor who works primarily with the software industry. And Amit is an investor, he's an angel, and he had made several exits. And recently, he bought another company into his company. So welcome, Amit. Thank you. The second person I would like to call is Samantha Stein. Samantha, are you here? Okay, Samantha. Very good. So Samantha is the director of special projects and battlefield editor at TechCrunch. And Samantha is responsible for mapping startup system globally to identify the highest potential disruptors across all sectors at the battlefield editor at TechCrunch. And she meets thousands and thousands of people. The next one I would like to call is Pierre Louet. Pierre, bienvenue. Pierre Louet is the General Secretary of Orange, Deputy CEO of Orange, Executive Vice President, and you are in charge of so many things in Orange. I can start. Orange, everyone knows, Deputy CEO, very senior person with us. The next one is coming from the Netherlands, from Philips, Jeroen. Jeroen, this is how I pronounce it? Jeroen? Jeroen. Jeroen Tas. Jeroen is the Chief Innovation Strategy Officer at Philips. I'm sure that everyone knows of Philips. And you as well in charge of many things at Philips. And Jeroen has more than 30 years of global experience as an entrepreneur. And before joining Philips, you also was the co-founder of an IT company. And I'm sure that you will have a lot of experience to share with us. We have another two persons. One is Axel Menneking. Axel, are you here? Okay. Hello, Axel. So Axel Menneking is the managing director of the accelerator of Deutsche Telekom. Located in Berlin, Axel is the vice president of startup incubation and venturing at Deutsche Telekom. And before joining Hubraum, this is the name of the accelerator, I assume, Axel had various leadership roles in product marketing and product management in quite a few startup companies. And the last but not least is Maurizio Rossi. Okay. Hello, Maurizio. And who is the co-CEO and founder of H-Farm. Together with your partner, Ricardo, you founded H-Farm. It's an innovative platform that supports the creation of new business models, the digital transformation, and the training of large international corporations to forward open innovation. So, welcome everyone. The name of the panel is From an Idea to Exit. And I remember that when Yossi Vardi made the first exit 20 years ago, it was like a dream come true, and everyone was envy of him. Said, wow, $400 million US. If he can make it, we sure can make it. And then we saw a flourish of startups in Israel. Now, all of you have entrepreneurial experience, either by yourself or in your organization. And I would like to start with you, Samantha. As you meet hundreds of startups every day, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you meet a lot of startups. What is the first thing that you seek when you meet an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so the most important thing I look for first is the person very excited about what they're doing? So I probably meet at least 100 entrepreneurs a day, and then I get their pitches in my email by the thousands. But the number one thing is, are they so excited to tell me what they do? Because if they're not excited about what they're doing, why should I be, or why should anyone else be who they need to work for them, who they need to partner with, who they need to sell to?
Okay. Axel, again, as someone who is running the accelerator of Deutsche Telekom, I don't know how many companies right now that are in the accelerator. Maybe you can share a little bit about it. But as well, what makes you choose a specific startup or a specific entrepreneur over the others, as there is limited space?
So if I talk about the entrepreneur, and I will just pick one quality of the founder. To me, it's very important that I am convinced that the founder can attract best talent for his company.
Okay, thank you. Amit, as I think the only Israeli in the panel, and as someone who was entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur by yourself, and you have a lot of experience, maybe you can give the Israeli perspective about entrepreneurs. What makes you, as you are an investor as well, what makes you investing in those companies? Because this is your own money.
First of all, hello everyone. To my opinion, the first thing, and it was mentioned here in different ways, is passion. If you have passion to create, and this passion is convincing, probably everything will follow after that. And I also see a lot of companies, and I invest, and I'm an entrepreneur myself. If you have the passion and you can convince other people that this dream can go through, then you can set the Northern Star and you can reach there.
Okay, thank you, Amit. Maurizio, as you are a founder of a startup by yourself, can you share with us what are the common mistakes of startupists? What are the mistakes that they should avoid, not only during their startup lives, but when they try to raise money and raise investors? Maybe you can share from your own experience.
So, well, our experience is made out of mistakes. So we do mistakes every day, and mistakes are part of what you do. It's part of the life cycle, the path of a startup. You need to sort out very quickly. So mistakes is just probably a result, which is under expected or what you're thinking. And mostly people in tech has not experience about a market. So they know what the technology can do it potentially, but sometimes could be 1-2 years before. And that's probably one of the most common mistakes that comes out from the technology. But it's a good entrepreneur driven by passion. He overcomes quickly. So he can fix it. This is the way to work. And not just as a startup, because it's a continuous evolution.
Thank you. Pierre, maybe we can... okay. So, as the deputy CEO of Orange, which is a large corporate, and many Israelis would like to, one of their dreams is to cooperate with a company like Orange. And if we talked about mistakes, and as you see, probably many entrepreneurs, what are the common mistakes that entrepreneurs are doing when they're approaching a global company like Orange? And Yoram, I will going to ask the same question for you and Philip. So
we have to cooperate, right, in the answer. The common mistakes, maybe the first one would be to consider that if you work with a corporate VC, he's really going to pave your way in all directions, that it's going to be easy for you in the large group. It's not going to be easy. Actually, large groups are not easy, even for us when we work in large groups. So I keep telling the people that we start working with, the people who have passion, as you mentioned, the people who have ideas, the people who are ready to share also, we tell them it's not going to be super easy. You have to try to use the synergies that the large group can help you develop. But if it doesn't work instantly, tell us about it. And if it doesn't work after 3 or 4 tries, do something else. So I keep telling them, don't spend too much time actually with the corporation because you might get lost. You know, there are so many of us in the company. Everyone is interested. They want to meet the new startup. They want, you know, they have a bright idea for them. That's very dangerous. You know, you don't want to feel that you're going to spend your life developing some kind of synergy with the one of the shareholders. There are other shareholders, there are other companies. So this is actually the first advice that I give them. Don't spend too much time with us. It's going to work rapidly or not, and then we will help you in many other ways, in the propagation, in the credibility, in the funding, in all the dimensions that we can use. But you know, that's the first thing that we try to tell them.
And Jeroen, please.
Yeah, I think one aspect hasn't come out yet, which I really look for, which is a strong sense of pragmatism. Understanding that you shouldn't fall in love with your idea, but you should fall in love with a proposition that can be monetized and scaled. So that means that you're willing to reinvent yourself along the way. You drive towards something that can scale and that people are willing to pay for. And specifically as a big company, we look at that in the context of our own strategy. Is there things you can do faster and better because you're more agile, you're more driven, but you also have a very strong understanding of the market. You have a very strong understanding of, you know, in our case, what it takes to bring it back to the reality of clinical practice, for instance. And if we see these things coming together, then we get excited and we want to attach these people to what we're doing. So we have a big external venture capability also here in Israel, where we already have 11 companies, startups that we fund through our joint venture with Teva.
If I may jump on this,
Yes, please.
Because I think it's definitely a different way working together with the corporates like Philips, Orange, and Deutsche Telekom, or classical VCs or pure accelerators. And I realized also with Israeli companies that in selling into a corporate, they're quite inexperienced. And I always tell them, you need to find someone in the corporate who wants to sell this as if it was his own idea. If you manage that, everything is fine. Otherwise, you run into the corporate and you get a bloody nose and you run again and it will never happen. So find this champion who wants to sell it as if it's his own idea, and then it's you're on a good path.
Thank you. Finding a champion in the company. Right. Yes, please, Maurice.
No, there was like, it's the main point is culture. That's the point in between the startup and the corporation that is to be connected between the two. I was just adding one comment.
Yes, Amit,
I want
please.
to add one sentence. We mentioned that there are mistakes. Well, we do mistakes in life, not only in startups. And mistakes will happen, and mistakes will happen all the time. So it's not about the mistake. It's about how you work it out fast and how you maneuver in a world of changes that yesterday you went to sleep when you know something, and the next day you found a competitor or a problem or a culture issue. Things will happen. So the idea about startup, and I am representative of the Israeli startups in this panel, is to have the ability to move fast, to have the ability to make a change. Somebody mentioned not to fall in love with your idea. Your idea might change a little bit, concept might stay, but the idea might change and you need to adjust. And one more advice I always give, you should listen. You know everything, you are the entrepreneur, you are the most beautiful, you are amazing. Look at me. But you should listen. You should listen because there are a lot of people that are experienced out there, and it's good to hear opinions. It's good to have a strong board, strong advisory, partners, people that been there, made those mistakes. Then use your gut feeling and make your decision.
You know, my father used to say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should use it in this order. So, Pierre, you wanted to say a few words about the selection. So.
No, but really, you sort of took the words out of my mouth. What I just wanted to add when it comes to selecting the people and the ideas, I really share the idea of, you know, people who are driven, people who are excited about what they do. But after years of you know, selections and experience, I also have in mind when I meet the people for the first time 2 qualities, I think. one of them is to trust the others. You have to be able to open up and trust. It's not by being secret and you know, not sharing that it's going to work. You have to trust to a certain extent. And the other idea is really that I'm willing to look at the guys in front of me and tell them, are they ready to hire people that are even stronger than them? Because I've met several times in the past companies that seem to have a good start, and then they just didn't scale because the owner or founder didn't want to share, and he was distrustful, saying, no, this guy is too strong. No, you have to hire almost instantly people who are too big for the job around you, and even people that are stronger than you. You know, I do that all the time. It's not difficult in my case, but I always hire people who are much more clever and much more savvy in technology and all things, because they're going to take me higher. You know, they're not going to take me down. If you keep in a sort of autarcic, Malthusist way, you know, just between you, yourself, and you, that's not going to be enough. So that's really one of the criteria for me in order to select people who are going to be able to grow.
Thank you. So now we look a little bit to the future, and you know, 10 years ago, nobody knew what is Internet of Things. 30 years ago, nobody knew what is Internet. Cybersecurity, it's another area which suddenly it's becoming a trend. And maybe you can reveal with us some of your thoughts about what will be the next trends. What is the next cybersecurity? What is the next fintech? Yaron, maybe you would like to start.
I like to predict the next trend as something that Philips invented 25 years ago. So it's called ambient intelligence. And the whole idea 25 years ago, clearly ahead of its time, was that the environment senses your needs and reacts to it, which in healthcare can mean, you know, people that you see on the vital signs that they can go into trauma, you can change the lights, you can, you know, warn a nurse, but in general, you know, you can wear one of our health watches. This is connected to a car. If you have diabetes and you see arrhythmia, it can be an indication of going low, and the car can drive you to the right destination. So these are not far-fetched scenarios, but it means that technology completely disappears in the background, becomes part of your environment, and becomes very sensitive to your needs in a secure way. Now, you know, we predicted this 25 years ago. It probably takes another 25 years to make it happen. But we clearly look at this ambient intelligence as a next big way for solutions in healthcare.
Very interesting. I must admit that I never heard about it before. So at least for me, it's new. Samantha, I mean, you meet so many people who have crazy ideas. So what do you foresee?
So one of the things I'm really personally excited right now about is blockchain. I think we hear a lot of, you know, crowded conversations about ICOs, the wild, wild west, and cryptocurrencies. I don't find that part of the conversation particularly exciting. I think it's kind of like talking, like the internet was just invented and we're talking about email and like super excited about email when you're like, wait, but the internet was invented. Like there's all these things that are gonna happen. So different applications that are going to emerge for blockchain are extremely interesting to me, and that's everything from, you know, ways it will disrupt insurance and financial markets to ways that it'll actually disrupt the way we share identities. So imagine right now that there's, you know, thousands and thousands of people all over the world who don't actually have any form of identity, and if they do, maybe it's kept on paper. And all of a sudden, at any point in the world, I'm going to be able to verify within a matter of, you know, 20 minutes tops, which will bring down the rate of that you are in fact who you say you are, and you do come from this particular place, and there's all this attached information to your identity profile. So that's pretty transformative, both along social impact, but how you can move commerce with being able to understand identity verification.
I want to join to what Cynthia just said. I think that blockchain is going to revolutionize everything. And if you think about the fundamentals of what is blockchain, it means that if you have an identity, you don't have to be registered in a specific place. So it means that point A to point B can be in contact without to be registered via many servers and via middlemen. It might disrupt the entire advertised world, it might disrupt the insurance world, Because if I myself want to get a new apartment, I would be happy to talk with the people that can sell me this apartment without million middlemen in the way. And blockchain is that technology. And to my opinion, it will change anything. It will change security. It will change insurance. It will change commerce. And it's starting.
So within blockchain right now, one of the main challenges is how quickly you can process information that's being passed, right? So it's way slower right now than traditional financial transactions, and that affects everything across the blockchain. So what's most exciting, and it's going to be a huge trend once it starts to get figured out, is the wave of startups who tackle and address that and really unleash the power of blockchain that people are speaking about right now.
So I'm excited throughout the whole, let me say, value chain of telecom operators. So there will be new forms of connectivity. Things are moving to the cloud, and devices we know today may disappear. And just to give a combination, is like we're currently working on topics like working with robots, with low latency networks managed out of the cloud. And that shows that throughout our whole value chain, everything is in movement and in disruption. And for me, it's rather the combination of different technologies that now come together: AI, speech recognition, machine learning, new connectivity technologies. And that is, for me, the thing that excites me most. And that's also the big challenge we have to face.
Please, Maurizio.
My opinion is that we'll see, out of the main clusters like Israel and Silicon Valley, we're going to see appearing new technologies every year and new tech entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs to leverage them to make a disruption. So honestly, except of the next one like blockchain, I can't tell you which one is coming, but for sure, there is also a phenomenon that the most mature technology are now expanding over different non-tech industries. So that's what didn't see in the first 15 years, where the technology were only matters of the high-tech industry. And it be dominated by Israel, Silicon Valley. I want to make a startup. I want to make the exit because Google going to buy me. But what's happening now that's getting more mature, it's that the non-tech industries around the world are taking this opportunity. This is going to be a big opportunity where we're going to see big new startups, big new companies. And that's going to change the whole ecosystem as well. It's going to have an impact. So this is my prediction.
Thank you. And Pierre, you are the last who did not comment on this one. So what are the trends in the telecom world? I mean, we speak, we chat, we browse. What is the next thing in the telecom world? Please share with us.
Well, I'm not going to tell you, otherwise I would have to kill you. So it's and they would kill me first probably. So no, 5G is coming up, and then probably it's going to be 6G and so on. But I would really join a lot of you guys in saying that yes, blockchain. We have invested in blockchain too, because all of the transactions, a company like our company has 260 million customers now. So all of those transactions can be put in danger at one point or another. So the blockchain system, the distribution of the information and the securitization is very important. The next generation will be also more transparent communications that you were saying. I like this idea of ambient, and you're right. 5G should be distributed communications, all layers, all kinds of objects connected, very high speed, very deep penetration. So all of the the layers of the networks will be put together. But I would add one thing to what you were previously asking, about the next trends. It is something that I know very little about, but I really think that we should look into, let's say, natural sciences, 2.0, a new way to live with the planet, a new way because there cannot be a long-standing disconnection between all the energy put into very heavily, energy-driven systems and what the planet lives and goes through today. So sustainability, new ways of doing farming, new ways of handling the earth, all of those aspects, I think, will be very important and can grow rapidly, more important than we think, when it comes to people starving, to us, destroying 2 planets per year and that kind of stuff. So I'm not knowledgeable about that, but I think this is, for all the intelligent people and the young people now, it's really one of the directions they should go into.
I fully agree, and I can highly recommend to everyone to read a book called The Donut Economy, which is exactly about these external network effects, and that there is no sustainable business if you don't handle the external network effects. And if you look at Germany, we have currently this huge diesel discussion about pollution in our cities, and that shows that this is not just a trend, it's already there. And governments and people need to find a way, together with the corporates, how to handle this. So I fully agree, this is a very exciting area.
Samantha, want to add?
Yeah, so just going off of that, I think actually one of the things that blockchain can facilitate through its ability to allow us to see into supply chains like we've never ever been able to imagine before is this idea of a circular economy, which is that nothing will ever go from use to waste, but it's constantly in reuse, and we're constantly able to see how that cyclical effort is made possible. And so I hope that happens within my lifetime, and I'm able to, dance to it and say that's incredible. Like through my work in the tech sector, I've been able to help push that forward. And I think it's extremely important inflection point right now where really dangerous things will happen if we don't start to focus more on these businesses.
I would like to address another big challenge. If you look at the cost of healthcare around the world, it's been exceeding, inflation for the last 30 years, and it's still growing, and there's still billions of people who don't have access to healthcare. I think a lot of those technologies we're talking about are going to be put in the service of creating better health, creating better social services, and some of these technologies are critical. I think AI is one of the most important technologies that would enable, us understanding us as complex emerging systems and turning that into better care. I think connecting chronic disease patients, which make up 80% of the cost, will get better outcomes. And yes, identities play a huge role in this, because we need to be able not just to identify you as a patient, we need to identify the devices that control your health, the software that's running on it, and making sure it's secure end to end. So I think we have a huge bunch of challenges that I think will be enabled through technology. And a lot of it, the reason I'm here, is because we have about 1,000 R&D engineers in Israel. We have this great combination of tech and clinical talent that helps us build some of those solutions.
I hope that you listened very carefully, because they said so many important things. If you're an investor, entrepreneur, you got here free tips. So you mentioned Israel, and Israel, it's a small, loudy country in the Middle East. It's very humid right now. Why Israel? And you started, so I will. Of all countries, why this country? Why Israel? What makes it so special?
Well, let's start with the culture. I think this loud, challenging, entrepreneurial, driven, very important aspects. Also the fact that there is a real ecosystem for innovation. So the government, you're very proactive, but also the research institutes, the private equity world around it, but also, the education of the people. We have some of our smartest and best educated people that working us on groundbreaking innovation. So it's a small country, but highly concentrated when it comes to capabilities.
Amit, you wanna?
By the way, if you take a look at the surveys and researches, Israel is not ranked as #1 most innovative country, not also second. So we have innovation when we have a system that encourages that. But I think that the reason that there are so many entrepreneurs here, that we have this in our gut, we have this character that we dare. We dare, and we are very entrepreneurs in the belief that we can create, as I mentioned in the beginning, the passion and the spirit and build something. It's not always that the innovation starts here, but we dare and we want to be entrepreneurs. And I think this is why there is a very big concentrations of startups that are born here.
Thank you. Pierre, Orange is investing in Israel.
Yeah.
So please share with us why. Why Israel?
Well, I mean, we've been in Israel for many years. All the reasons mentioned before, great engineers, Technion schools, Tel Aviv University. But also there is one thing in terms of startups which is super important to mention. It is so obvious actually that sometimes we forget it. Companies, ideas that are originated here have no parochial, no domestic future. It is to the world from day one, from minute one. There is no domestic market really, so those ideas, they are intrinsically going to go abroad, going to go all over to the world. And this is something really important for us because, you know, they have to have something universal, they have something technology-driven that it will be applied by anyone. So this is what we like to, you know, instantly you know that the ambition doesn't stop with the river, the lake, or the sea. The ambition is the world. And so it's natural, it's ontological, it's the essence of the idea, and we like that.
Thank you. Samantha, I mean, you someone who meets entrepreneurs from all around the world. What is the uniqueness of the Israeli entrepreneur?
So I think one of the things you touched on earlier, which is it's not just Israeli entrepreneurs, Israelis culturally, a door is never closed, a no is never a no, a no is a maybe, the door is always partially open, you just got to figure out where the handle is, or you have to secretly knock. And so when you were addressing that it's really important for entrepreneurs to be able to execute quickly and pivot and to not see a situation as a no or a challenge or failure, but see it as, okay, how do I overcome this quickly? What are my 10 different options? Evaluate, move, take advice. Israelis are exceptionally good at doing that. And I think part of it is they live in a state where they do that every day in their decisions and thinking and discussions. You ride in a taxi and it's hard to not be asked by the person, who's driving the taxi, your thoughts on 10 different things and how you'd respond to something. And culturally, it feels like one big family. And so you have sort of deeper conversations just walking around the country. And this sort of a cultural state makes it, it's like a boot camp for how do you pivot and respond to challenges as an entrepreneur. Beyond that, I mean, historically, Israel has very, very deep ties to incredible technologies coming out of the military. And I think we're currently at an inflection point where you see more and more growth stage investors coming into Israel and seeing that the entrepreneurs locally are interested in taking riskier bets outside of cyber, doing more interesting consumer plays. And my whole team has taken notice. We were just here in July, and there was definitely a shift between the tour we normally do that's mostly focused on cyber to seeing really interesting developments in the tech ecosystem, which may or may not be featured in September in San Francisco for Disrupt, so stay tuned.
Okay, great. Maurizio, do you want to share some of your thoughts about Israel?
Yeah, that's just personal because 2 of my kids, I moved them living here at 15 years old. And on top of all those things is Tel Aviv is becoming kind of a capital of freestyle. And that's very important because it's fostering, it's engaging the creativity in a very freedom way. So this city is a special environment for a young generation. And I see my kids, I get my kids 15 years old, get there. And so I'm very happy about the choice. So I think this is one thing which is very special, which is coming out. And that's why I'm so in love with Israel, Tel Aviv, especially with the people, friends. So it's just personal comment.
Good. We should record, every one of you to our propaganda. So, Axel, please.
So to us, it's a few reasons. One is technology-driven innovation. The second is we truly believe, and that's why we're passionate about Israel, that Deutsche Telekom can provide a real win-win situation to entrepreneurs here in Israel. We can open the European market, and by the way, we don't do this only on our own, but we also do it, for example, together with Orange. I'm looking for startups having joint programs. And if you look at our activities since years, there is T-Labs, our research entity, having a partnership with Ben Gurion University, being in Beersheba, working on cybersecurity. Then we have Foodbraum, our seed early stage startup vehicle, creating partnerships, but also we can invest in young startups. Then we have Amit Keren with his team doing commercial partnering for more mature companies that look for commercial deals. And then we have DT Capital Partners being capable of doing large-scale VC investments and already with some very nice successful exits here. So we really have set up, out of that passion and priority, a whole line of different touch points to work with us, and we invite every entrepreneur to talk to us, and we're happy to bring you over to Europe.
Thank you. So as we are running out of time, I mean, I could have spent another hour with you guys. I just want to thank you for coming to Israel. Amit, you are here, but thank you for operating here. So I want to thank you. I hope that you will have a fruitful and useful visit. I want to thank, of course, DLD, Yossi, Orly, Ruti, and the whole gang for making such a wonderful event in Tel Aviv. You know, the city of, Maurizio, how did he describe Tel Aviv? The city of the future or the city of the present? So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. An amazing panel.